Hi guys, this is Matt from the Tool Merchants, and I wanted to take a few minutes and give you my take on some splitting axes and mauls. If you're in the market for a new maul or your first maul, a splitting axe, a number of these are probably ones you're seeing online if you're looking for something a little more than just what's at the hardware store or at your farm and garden store. So I have these laid out from left to right. The three on the left are splitting axes, the three on the right are mauls, and I have them laid out by weight from left to right. So this is the lightest, this is the heaviest splitting axe, this Fiskars here, the lightest maul, the Gran Sport Brooks maul, and then over here to the heaviest, this is an SHW maul. So first I would just say, if you don't know, a splitting axe is not a replacement for a maul. I think that a splitting axe is a great complement to a maul. If you can only get one, I guess it depends on really the size of the things you're going to split. A splitting axe will really only go so big before it just gets to be too hard to split them up. If you're only splitting small diameter stuff, then a splitting axe is great. It's less weight, easier on the body, but if you're going to be getting into big stuff, a maul is what you need. And the ability to pound wedges, or even just use it as a sledgehammer for pounding just about anything, mauls are great because they have a hardened pole, which allows you to bang on them safely. You don't want to do that with a splitting axe. You will damage the axe. So like I said, I think they make a great complement to each other. If you have one of each in your arsenal, you can tackle bigger stuff with your maul, and then smaller stuff you can break down with your splitting axe and save your body a bit. So let's start with the splitting axes. This is the Wetterling splitting axe. I love Wetterling's axes, but I cannot recommend this axe to anyone. I hope you can see there, it has a very, very thin and long profile. It's very skinny, and it's almost shaped more like a felling axe, just longer. You know, it does an okay job if it's already quartered wood, but even on rounds I found this thing just to be getting stuck more often than not. I just can't recommend it. I think if they made this more of an aggressive wedge shape, they would have something to work on. This is the Gran Sport Brooks large splitting axe, and it's just beautiful, as all Gran Sport Brooks axes are. Oh, and let me just tell you, all of these axes are mine except for the Gran Sports. I was lucky enough to have a good friend who didn't need his axes for a little while, and he's letting me borrow these. And so I've had them for about a month. That's been great. Otherwise, I don't think I could be bringing this review to you. I recommend this axe. I mean, if you're looking for a splitting axe and you want to get the best you can buy, you know, in a production axe as opposed to a custom axe, the Gran Sport is great. It's not cheap. It's $160 roughly. Weighs 5.35 pounds. Has a couple nice features, including this metal collar to protect the handle and a roughed up base of the handle here for better purchase or grip. Can't complain about it. It does a really nice job. You can see the profile on it. So next up is the Fiskars X27. This is the largest axe in the Fiskars line. It's the full-on 36-inch handle. It's the longest axe in this group. And it's really hard to knock this axe, even though there are some things I could complain about it. For around $50, you're getting something that has over 1,000 4- and 5-star reviews on Amazon. So it's really a great deal. It's got a great head profile, kind of like a wedge. It just does a fantastic job. And if anything here is sort of bridging the gap between a splitting axe and a maul, I think it's the Fiskars that can sort of do the biggest I found. My complaints, really my biggest complaint is the steel. I found it to be kind of soft, and it has chipped on me quite a bit. That said, gosh, it still works really well. Plastic handle, fiberglass handle is sort of a matter of taste. I prefer wood. That said, I don't think you can break this. On the flip side, if you did ever break it, you'd have a piece of trash, I think. I mean, maybe you could do something with the head, but you know, a wooden handle tool you can always rehandle. I don't think you could really do that with this axe. But I recommend this splitting axe. It's great. It's a good axe. So I mean, next up is perhaps of primary interest. You know, like I said, if you can only choose one, you probably want a Maul. Even though it's heavier, it can just do more. It's a more versatile tool. So first up, we have the Gran Sport Brooks Axe, and it retails for about $175. It's also the lightest Maul here at 7 pounds 2 ounces. And really, I just want to compare these two axes. I mean, they're very similar. If you're looking for a high-end production axe, you're maybe looking at these two. This one retails, the Wetterlings retails for between $120 and $160 wherever you're looking, so it's a little bit cheaper. The point that I have found here is that the Wetterlings just does a better job of splitting, and it's due, in my opinion, to the shape of the axe head. You can see it's much fatter, it's much more of a wedge shape, much wider going down to the bit, whereas this Gran Sport Brooks has a much thinner profile, and it's a much sort of softer taper. It's actually slightly convex, or concave, excuse me. And so, you know, in the month that I've had a chance to use this, I still pick up my Wetterlings whenever I have the choice. It just really kicks ass. So some other differences: the Wetterlings is a few ounces heavier. Excuse me, about 9 ounces heavier, and I'm weighing those on my own scale, not taking those numbers offline. It's an inch longer. They're both really well made. The quality control generally is higher on a Gran Sport Brooks axe. That's part of what you're paying for. Both of these have acceptable end grain, and in fact, I don't know if you can see, but the Wetterlings is actually better, and that sort of just depends on the individual tool. Like the large splitting axe, this Gran Sport has the metal collar and it has the roughed up handle, both of which are really nice features. However, they're not enough for me to recommend an axe that doesn't split as well. This Wetterlings does a great job. Oh, and here's the Gran Sport sheaths. They're really nice, just well made, simple leather with a snap. This last one is maybe one you haven't heard of. SHW is a German tool maker. They've been around for a really long time. In fact, the forge where they make tools has been active since the 1200s, which is pretty amazing. This axe runs from anywhere from $40 to $50. Right now, Earth Tools BCS carries it. I also have a few in stock. This is the heaviest of the bunch. It weighs, let's see, 8 pounds overall. It's a 6.6 pound head, whereas this Wetterlings was 5.5 pounds. I recommend this axe, this Maul. I think it's well worth the price. It does not have the fit and finish of either the Gran Sports or the Wetterlings, but you're paying, you know, a third of the price. It's an American hickory handle, which is nice. It's got a nice fat head. It's got 2 circular wedges there going in. It doesn't have the balance that I find in these 2 Swedish axes, and for me that has to do with how much weight is on the back of the tool. There's a lot more weight on the back of this tool, and it makes it harder for me to guide it where I want it. But again, it's a fine axe. I got together with a group of buddies and did some comparison, splitting up some wood, and one of my friends, this was his favorite. You know, for me, I'm a small guy. A full pound difference on this Wetterling lets me get a lot more speed up, and I prefer that to a heavier tool. Another thing that I didn't mention, you know, is steel quality. I did mention that on the Fiskars, and I did notice in my time using this SHW in the past couple months that the edge is not as durable as this Wetterlings. You know, this Wetterlings came razor sharp, and I am so blown away that there's hardly been a nick. It's really quality steel, whereas, you know, this is not quite the same level. I've used some other SHW tools, gardening tools, and I consider them just a great sort of working man's tool. They don't really come finished. You know, you would spend some time with this tool getting it really sharp and ready for splitting. It doesn't really come ready to split. But the workmanship is pretty good. The quality of the steel and the handles are pretty good. For $50 coming all the way from Germany, it's a pretty good deal. So if you were looking to put sort of a budget package together, you know, for around $100, maybe a little more with shipping, this Fiskars and this SHW are great. You know, to me, the ultimate package would be this Gran Sport and the Wetterlings Maul, or, you know, a middle ground would be the Fiskars and the Wetterlings. Let me know your comments below. You know, what are your thoughts on mauls and this video in general? You know, splitting wood is really, it's great work. It's one of my favorite jobs on the homestead, and I find that having a good tool, you know, really does make a difference. So thanks a lot for watching.